My wife's gym obsession led to her ignoring me, affecting our marriage. She finally admitted having an affair, part 2. To have a deeper understanding and to listen to part 2 of the narrative with the most genuine feelings, anyone can look for part 1 and listen to the story from the beginning. Additional information. She's ruined my life, but I just feel numb right now. I barely feel anything at the moment. It would have been bad enough for her to have an affair and cheat on me. But she couldn't have stopped when she found out she was pregnant. At least I could have walked away if it wasn't for this pregnancy. Maybe I still can, but I won't know for sure until I get some test results. She's almost positive the baby is mine. I'm stuck dealing with her forever then. My child will grow up with divorced parents. Their mom will be the gym bike. Maybe she'll even take off to live near her family and take my kid with her. Oh, but then she couldn't be near the guy who gives her butterflies and fucks her in gym changing rooms. The thrill, the excitement. How can I even blame her? She's ruined fatherhood for me, whether this baby is mine or not. If by some chance the baby isn't mine and I'm able to completely break free, how will I not think of this one day when I start a family? I was so happy to have this baby with her. I was really excited, even though we hadn't planned for it right now. We had names picked out. I've been there for everything. And now she does this to me. Not only to me, but also to this poor kid regardless of who their father is. She's saying, I'll never go back to the gym again. I'll never talk to him again. But she can't even say whether she's in love with him or not. What kind of idiot does she think I am? I feel like that doesn't really mesh with the fact that she doesn't even know if she's in love with him or not. She obviously still has very strong feelings for him, which are probably coming more from between her legs than her actual heart, but doesn't really matter either way to me. She still thinks there is hope to save our relationship. Jesus Christ. I think despite anything to do with him, she's dependent on me in a way. For stability maybe. Just out of comfort. Maybe. We've been together since she was 20 years old, so I'm just this familiar person, I guess. She has her gym friends out here, but other than that she has no family or friends out here. She makes pretty good money, but I make more and all of our benefits are through me. Even with her good salary, it would be difficult to survive on her own as a single mom here with all of the daily living expenses, or at least live anywhere near the level she wants to live at. Yeah. I believe she still thinks there's a chance I'll agree to raise another man's child with her. She doesn't take me seriously when I say there's no way I'd do that. She is dependent on me. She probably wouldn't leave me if I knocked somebody else up and wanted her to play mommy. I know that sounds terrible and it's nothing I'd ever do, but I feel like she'd be mad and she'd go screw somebody else to get back at me, but she probably would be too scared to actually leave me. I don't feel the same way about leaving her. I'm sad to leave her. I don't want this to be our reality. I can't even say that I completely hate her yet. But I won't raise another man's child. If she feels so strongly about that guy and he's so wonderful, go get together with him then, and leave everyone else alone. It's hard to reconcile the woman I thought I knew with the one who betrayed me. We had built a life together, shared dreams, and made plans for the future. Now, all of that seems meaningless. I've tried to understand her perspective, but every attempt just makes me more angry and confused. How could she risk everything we had for some fleeting excitement? We're supposed to be focusing on the upcoming birth of our child, preparing for parenthood together. Instead, we're dealing with this nightmare. The stress is unbearable. Every day feels like a battle to keep my emotions in check, to not lash out in anger or fall apart in despair. I keep picturing the future I had envisioned, with us raising our child together, and it feels like a cruel joke now. Update 3. Next week I'm scheduled to meet with a lawyer to discuss the situation and get some advice. I feel a bit uneasy about some things and would like to understand them better. Take for instance the gym she frequents, where somehow I've never been invited. Yet surely enough, she introduces me to a couple of her fellow gym members, a somewhat older married pair. It feels like she's showing me off, but in a place where my presence was never welcomed before. Another matter that bothers me is the longevity of her affair. She has admitted that she's been with the other man since last summer, but that's based solely on her own admission. It leaves me wondering, has it been longer? In fact, I have met this other man. I remember their rendezvous clearly. It was last summer when he got drunk at a bar and couldn't drive himself home. He phoned her to come and rescue him. But it didn't feel right for her to go out late at that hour, so I joined her. As for our living arrangements, I'm conflicted. I want her to leave our home, but I also don't want her to return to her family yet, especially because of the baby. If she delivers the baby here, I'll be in a better position if the child turns out to be mine. However, if she goes home to her parents, she could very well be allowed to stay there, and that would be considered the baby's place of residence. Despite the turmoil, her life seems to go on. She missed work for a few days, but she has returned since then. I recall this morning she was quite upset. Still, I had to leave for work. She had to go in late, and when she eventually arrived, her co-workers were all caring for her, offering her food and tea. Clearly, they didn't know the real reason behind her distress. Update 4. My wife has agreed to a paternity test on February 29, 2024. The woman who was once my wife, who I considered a classy woman, has turned into complete trailer trash. The woman I once considered my wife, who I regarded as a classy lady, has completely transformed into someone I barely recognize. Today, she announced that she's moving in with her affair partner from the gym. She's pregnant, and the baby might be his or might be mine. She's too embarrassed to go get a paternity test. She spent about a week trying to get my attention, to get me to talk to her, to get me to beg her to stay. I didn't fall for any of it. I've largely been ignoring her, and when we do speak, I keep it very brief. We've been living together this whole time, but I'm in a different room now, functioning separately from her in every way. Her attempts to get me to pay attention to her and commend her for not going to the gym for 5 days in a row didn't work. Today she texted me to say she is moving in with him. Somehow, I still care about this person. I've already met with a lawyer though. I can care about her as a human being and potential mother of my child without being married to her. Still, it stung to hear her say she was going to be with him. I told her it wasn't a smart move to leave the house and suggested she meet with a lawyer. She doesn't care about anything I have to say. I don't think she needs to move in with anybody. I actually feel bad for her that she can't just be on her own. I asked if he actually knew she was pregnant and wanted to know what story she's been telling him this whole time. She said he knows and he doesn't care if it's my baby. He loves her and wants to be with her. Bizarre. You can't find anyone else? Someone who isn't a married pregnant woman? Why would you take that on? Doesn't make sense to me. He's scum, but good-looking scum who is apparently gainfully employed and owns his own home. So you can't tell me that my married pregnant wife is his only option. I just can't imagine being a single guy like that and wanting to deal with this baggage when there are other options. And if this really is my baby, then what? They'll live with my wife and this weasel 50% of the time? I don't know how my life turned into this mess. And she thinks it's embarrassing to get blood drawn for a paternity test? She moved in with her affair partner last weekend. She didn't take very much at all. Most of her stuff is still in our house. I still get the feeling she was just waiting for me to beg her to come home, but I didn't reach out to her at all after she left. It was a strange mixture of relief, anger, and sadness. I don't think I ate at all until last night. Just never felt hungry. Drank a little too much. But I'm fine. I'm posting this update because I've received a ton of messages from people, and honestly, it's emotionally draining to respond to each one and to have to type the same stuff out. I just don't feel like talking about her that much. This morning she texted me to say her affair partner wants to get a DNA test done, so she's going to do it. Look at that, it didn't matter when I wanted one, but now that he has requested it, she suddenly thinks it's a great idea. She asked if I wanted to submit a sample because it'll be cheaper to have 2 dads tested as part of one package. I don't even care about the cost at this point. I just want an answer. I don't have to see or interact with them at all. I just have to make my own appointment with the lab to get my cheek swabbed. So this Saturday, I'm going to do that, and we should have the results within a week. I'll take what I can get at this point, because it's better than her dragging this out for another 20 weeks. So that's it. I'm fine. I'm going to work every day, trying to function. Just feel stuck in limbo. I miss her. Honestly, I hate that she's there with him. It makes me sick. Part of me does want to beg her to come home. It'll be even worse if I find out that it's my baby and she's there with him. Unless he drops her at that news. I won't let myself beg her. I won't play any of those games with her. Update on my wife's affair and pregnancy on March 15, 2024. My wife has been having an affair with a guy she met at the gym for nearly a year. She's around 22 weeks pregnant right now. She was about 17 weeks when I discovered her infidelity. Despite her insistence that I was the father, she refused to get a paternity test to ease my mind. We recently had a paternity test done at her affair partner's request, and it proves the baby is mine. The news brought mixed emotions, making me feel up and down. Initially, I thought I wanted to be completely done with her and avoid any lifelong ties through a child we shared. However, when I got the results, I felt a sort of relief. I'd already embraced the idea of becoming a father for months before I found out about the affair. Sometimes I have moments where I can't believe this is my life and that my child will be born into such a situation. It makes me resent her deeply. She's still living with him. All of her belongings are still here in our house. I refuse to do the work of packing everything up for her. She doesn't seem concerned about taking any of her things, beyond the essentials. After we got the news that I'm the baby's father, she texted me to say she's glad I'm the father, and that she knows I'll be a great dad. She was texting me new baby name ideas last night. She's tried calling, but I ignore the calls. I only communicate with her via text. This morning she asked if she could come by and get a few things. I told her it was fine as my lawyer advised me not to prevent her from entering the home, but I told her he better not be with her. So who shows up with her? The scumbag boyfriend. He walked right into the house behind her like it was no big deal. She ran upstairs to get the stuff she wanted, and he and I were left standing there in the living room. He told me it wasn't her fault that he was there. She had told him I didn't want him to come, but he forced his way along. He wanted to talk to me, supposedly to tell me he understands how I must be feeling. No, you don't know. He said he knows I probably don't believe him, but he genuinely loves her and knew he probably wasn't the father. He accepts it and then tries to assure me he won't try to take my place with the baby and hopes we can just get along since we're both going to be in her life now. He promised that she's fine and he's looking after her. I told him that I couldn't for the life of me imagine why he wanted to be with a pregnant woman carrying another man's child, and that I found it bizarre. Then I told him if he didn't get out of my house, I'd punch him. I went upstairs and found her trying to find some things in the bathroom. I got mad, asked her why she brought him along, and told her I found it really strange that he still wants to be with her now that he knows he has nothing to do with this baby. I made it clear that I refuse to let him have anything to do with my child. She said he talked her into coming, and she's sorry, and never meant for any of this to happen, but she's in love with him now. He is supposedly what 30-year-old her is looking for, not me. She's setting up a nursery in his house, and I can set one up at mine. She has no intention of trying to get full custody or anything like that. She doesn't want to keep me from being involved in my child's life. How generous of her. She went back downstairs, and I followed her. He was still standing there in the living room, so I walked up to him and punched him. He stumbled back and fell into a table. She yelled, "What the f?" and ran over to him. I don't even care at this point. As if he's going to call the cops? He deserved it, and it wouldn't have happened had he just left like I told him to. Several hours later she texted me to apologize for today. She insisted he really meant what he said, that he's actually a good guy who cares about her and respects me. What the f? He respects me? He was screwing my wife in the gym locker room. I was like, you can't be serious. She said, fine. I'm trying to have a mature conversation about this. I can't help that we fell in love. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to hurt you, and I want everything to be amicable. This guy stole my wife, and now he's stealing my kid too. Sure, I'm the biological father, but now they're setting up a nursery together in his house? I've tried not to feel jealous or sad. I've tried to maintain the thought that he's the trash man who picked up my garbage. Sometimes I feel that way, but the truth is that I loved her and still do. I don't want to stay married to her on principle alone, but this is devastating to me. New update. Another installment of the implosion, which is my marriage on April 10, 2024. My wife is now about 26 weeks pregnant. There hasn't been much drama with her and her affair partner recently. I took a long weekend away last week, and it was nice to get some distance from home for a while. The only really annoying thing that's happened is when I told her I would be in the delivery room, not him. After everything she's done, she owes me that. It's not his baby. He has no right or reason to be there. I will not be the one waiting outside when my child is being born. She initially agreed, saying she never planned to have him there. When I asked if she had told him, she said no. I told her to inform him that he wouldn't be part of it. Well, she told him, and apparently, he didn't take it well. He started trying to convince her why he should be there. Next thing I know, she's telling me that he really wants to be there, and since she's the one giving birth, she should be able to decide who is present. Now she wants him there. I suppose he'll start making name suggestions soon and try to override the names we've had picked out for years. We've had some discussions, and she told me I can have our house and the dog in our divorce. I've requested that we sell the house and split the profit. I've already had that written into the paperwork. I'm not buying her out of our house, a house that I've made all the payments on anyway. I have a much better credit score than she does and less debt. I compromised a lot because she liked this house. I'd rather get my own place based solely on what I want, with no reminders of her. And there was never any way she was getting the dog. I have proof that I own him, so she wouldn't stand a chance of winning him in court. It's the one thing I told my lawyer I wanted above everything else, not including custody issues regarding my actual child. Honestly, her affair partner can have her, but he will never have my dog. Not to mention, my dog is 100 times more loyal than my wife, and some might even say, better looking too. Given that I won't be living here much longer after the baby is born, if everything moves quickly, I've decided to still prepare a nursery here anyway, in case anyone wants to accuse me of not being invested or prepared for fatherhood. I'm trying to look at the positives. It doesn't matter what colors she likes or what themes she prefers. I can do whatever I want. Honestly, we've been together for so long and have lived together for most of our adult lives. It's sort of nice not living with someone, but also sort of lonely. I have friends and family, but it's hard to feel in the mood to go out or hang out with people too often. They always ask me about everything that's going on, and I'm tired of that being the topic of conversation. I got a promotion at work, which financially would have been better had it happened after the divorce, but I'll take what I can get. I feel like I'm living in limbo right now, and a lot of what I do is always framed around, how will this affect me in the divorce? Admittedly, I spy on them on social media sometimes. I guess I'm hoping to see he's been in a motorcycle accident or something now that the weather is nicer. Hasn't happened yet, but he's starting a new company, and once that's up and running, I can always get all my friends and family to leave 1-star reviews everywhere. Have to find ways to have a little fun. Sorry that I don't respond to a lot of messages or comments. Sometimes I just take big breaks from looking at Reddit since it can be depressing as hell. Editing to add something I forgot. She told her family that we've split up and that she's with this other guy now. Her sister reached out to me to say how sorry she was, calling her sister a dumbass and that sort of thing. She told me that my wife was complaining about her affair partner. She said the sex is over when he's done and apparently he's really selfish in bed. He doesn't do the little things she's used to, like clearing the snow off her car in the morning and heating it up or offering to make her food after a long day. He doesn't speak her love language, and hangs out with his friends too much. This made me so happy to hear. She's secretly miserable, and I find that absolutely delightful. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.